Welcome to a new AI agent tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to continue with our benchmark of different AI agent frameworks. And this will be the last video, the last benchmark of all the benchmark. In the next video we're going to do a summary and compare all the AI agent frameworks that I compared. So in this video we're going to talk about Agent Zero, how it works and how it's going to manage the task I give it. Say, if you want to see the benchmarks, like how much it costs, like how many tokens I use and all of these things, stay tuned till the end. At the end of the video we have a full benchmark of this Agent Zero framework. Okay, so what we're going to test in this, or what task we will give this agent. We will give the agent the task to first get ticker information from the Yahoo Finance API. Then we get the Warren Buffett investment principles from a file. Then we analyze the stock, and then we write the analysis of the stock to a file. So at the end you will have an analysis of the stock, but I have to tell you, this is not an investment. This video is not about not giving any investment advice. It gives you ideas. You have to do, of course, you have to do your research and invest. Talk to some experts to get like really professional advice. This video is not giving investment advice. So, let's start. So, what we're gonna have, first of all, we have this file with the Warren Buffett investment principles. It's like general principles of him, how he invests. So he likes value stocks. He likes that the stock or the company has a competitive advantage, that it's financially healthy, and usually he really likes stocks which pay off dividends, and some other metrics that you can see in the file. As usual, all the code, all the files I will provide in a GitHub repo in the description below, so you can always check everything and do it yourself. Okay, so let's go. What we're gonna do. So we have Agent Zero installed. How you install it? It's pretty easy. You just have to clone the repo and then install the requirements. And what we're gonna do, we will perform a starting prompt, which is this one. It's just like get your instructions from the prompt.txt. The reason why I do that, it's not very straightforward to put a very long prompt in the command line, because you execute agent ops in the command line and then it's not so straightforward to enter this. So that's why I prepared this prompt here, which I will explain you how it works. It's like, I gave it like a description and an expected output. And the description is first get a ticker symbol from tickerlist.txt. So I created a ticker file, which is only one stock, which is the Apple stock. Exactly. Then what else we do have? We have the ticker. Then use the ticker symbol, which is this one. Fetch. For the ticker symbol, fetch data using the Yahoo Finance library. So what we want the agent to do, to use the Yahoo Finance library to get the data, to install it and to actually use it. This is something very nice of Agent Zero. It can by default write code and execute it. And it will do that in a safe environment of a Docker container. So what we want when we fetch this data, we want some KPIs, which are here, like the ticker symbol, the company name, the current price, and so on and so on. And then when we got this data, then we get the Warren Buffett investment principles by opening the file Warren Buffett investment principles. All of these files I edited them. If you clone the repo, you will have a folder which is worked here, and so I copied all these files there. So these files can be accessed then by Agent Zero without any problems. Very straightforward. Then you provide a comprehensive analysis of the ticker write short and concise the pros why Warren Buffett would invest in this company and the cons why he wouldn't. Then summarize the company evaluation and provide a recommendation. Then give a Warren Buffett buy recommendation from 0 to 10. 10 is best. This I use a lot. I use it in my other videos too, and the other benchmarks too. It's really nice. The LLMs, especially the GPT-4o models and the most powerful models of Claude, they are very consistent in giving like ratings. And what I mean with that, you give it like a text or a SEO text, for example, and then you say, okay, we have these, based on this SEO principles, give this text a rating, and then the model returns a rating, for example, between 0 and 10. So it says it's an 8, and then you can tell the model, okay, why it's only an 8? I want to improve it, give me suggestions how to improve it, and then you can slowly go from 8 to 10, for example. And I already tested it a lot, I worked a lot with it, it's very consistent, so if it gives you 1, 7, most of the time it will return 7 too. It's not like once it's like 5, then it's 10, things like that. Okay, then finally write the results to the file docs.txt, which is here. Right now it is empty. And after that we will have our analysis inside the file. Okay, so then I defined an expected output, which is always the more precise you prompt, the better your results will be. So I want, as we described before, I want the pros why Warren Buffett would invest in the company, the cons why Warren Buffett wouldn't invest in the company. Then I want the company evaluation, and at the end a Warren Buffett buy recommendation. Yeah, so far that's pretty much it. I think I did not forget anything. So I think we just give it a try. So when you do that, the only thing what you have to do is you run the main py file. And here we defined that we want to use the GPT-4o mini model. I really like this GPT-4o mini model because it is cheap, and compared like what you get for the price, it is actually fast too. And quite powerful. When you work with agent with agent frameworks and something does not work, I always recommend you to use a more powerful model. So in this case, like the GPT-4o model. Then if it doesn't work, then you should change your structure or something. If it does work, you probably only have to adjust your prompts a little bit, or like add another check, for example, is it really correct, or can you just improve it, things like that, and then you probably will get the same result as you got with a more powerful model. Okay, well, it's using embeddings, that's not so important for now. So I think we need the start prompt, and then we just start it by just typing here python main.py, and then it asks you what you want to do, and I tell it, okay, get the instructions from the prompt.txt, which we went through right now, and then I just start it, and then it's doing its work. So first it's reading the prompt. Then here it read the prompt, everything perfect. Then it starts doing its job. It understands that it has to do some steps, and yeah, then it's just doing the work. You don't have to do anything. Now it's installing the Yahoo Finance library, doing everything in a safe Docker environment. So you really can execute Python code, any kind of code. It will not happen anything to your system because, as I said, it's in a safe Docker environment, which is very, very nice. Because sometimes these language models tend to do some crazy stuff. Okay, so it seems that already it found the ticker information. Okay, it's checking now if it has to do more stocks. It does not. Here we have like the data, what we wanted. So it's now getting the Warren Buffett principles and now it's doing its analysis. Yeah, and as you can see, as we're using GPT-4o Mini, it's quite fast. Now it seems that it did an error, then it will correct the error. So it is kind of it's iterating itself. So for example, you tell it, okay, write a Python code. It writes a Python code, makes a mistake, then it sees that it made a mistake, and then it tries to correct the mistake and run the Python code again. And if the mistake, the error code persists, then it will just do that again. So that's very, very nice about this framework. So yes, finally now it's writing the data to the file. Here we have our stock analysis, and well, let's see. Okay, it's not very nice, but it's not very well formatted, but we have here the pros, I guess. Here we have all the pros. Then we have the cons, and then we have the Warren Buffett buy recommendation. It did not really follow the structure I gave it. I think I could improve it with my prompt, because the prompt is kind of optimized and tested with the other frameworks. I just reused it. So I guess if I would improve the prompt, if I give it some examples how to do these things, then it should be very good, actually, or much better results at the end. Okay, so we stopped that here, and this is done. This time it took it took 200 seconds, but I think it did not really took 200 seconds because I did not press E right away. So I would say, let's say it took like 2 minutes, which is quite long. And this brings us now to the benchmark. So how did this model perform? So first thing first, the run cost around $0.037, which is like 3.8 cents, like one run, which is, I have to say, quite expensive. I mean, it's doing lots of things for you, but yeah, I would say it's still expensive with my experience. Yeah, it took like 94,000 tokens, which is quite a lot. Well, it's connected, of course. The more tokens you spend, the more expensive it is, and so on. So the lines of code to achieve what we wanted to achieve, the task I gave it, is 0. We did not have to write a single line of code, and neither for the tool nor for the setup of the agents. That's definitely a plus. Then the execution time, I did run it like 3 times, was like 100 seconds, 90 seconds, 92 seconds. So the total would be like 94 seconds, which is quite long. So how to install it? For installation, we just had to clone the repo and do pip install the requirements. Cloning repo and install requirements. So that's what you needed. And of course you have to need Docker installed if you want to use the code execution. And Docker, yeah. Okay, then the tricky part. It was quite easy to use. The one thing what for me took a little bit time to figure it out was this thing with the work dir. Actually, it's very nice because first I thought, okay, as it's creating a Docker environment, I have to connect to the Docker environment, navigate to the folder where it's doing the stuff, and then check the Python file. No, you don't have to do that. You have the work dir here, and then you can just open the files. And yeah, as we just did, we opened the stock analysis file. Okay, so furthermore, what is nice? Well, it is, I have to say, it's easy to use and it debugs itself. So it's really saves you lots of time. So if you're happy with the results, I would say it's the fastest way using an AI agent framework for getting what you want actually at the end. Okay, what is not so nice? Well, it's not so easy to install. It's not the same because some other framework you only have to do like pip install and you are done pretty much. Here you have to do some extra steps. Then, well, of course, yes, it needs Docker. Then the costs are difficult to track. I had to go to the OpenAI page, count the tokens which were used, and then do the calculation kind of myself. So I did not find anything where I can just see, okay, this run cost me this amount of money. The documentation is not so good. Well, maybe there is not so much what you actually need to documentate, but I would say that could be improved. It's only one developer or like two, what I could see, so it's very understandable. This is not like, I really appreciate the tool. It's a really, really nice tool. The guy did a great job. Of course, if you're not so many developers, if there are not so many people involved in the project, some things has to stay on the road. Yeah, then I personally don't see that it's scalable, because yes, okay, at the end you have a Python script, but what you want usually is a connection. If you're working with the agent, you want a connection of logic and the intelligence of the large language model. And I think this is not, I mean, I could run it again now, this workflow, and then with a different stock, for example. But still, I think it would take a lot of time, and if it takes so much time, I don't think that it's really scalable. And every time I run it, the results were pretty different because, okay, that could be because of my prompting. I think if I would improve my prompting, the results would be more consistent. But what I tried is, I really tried to use kind of the same prompts for all of or very similar prompts for all of the different frameworks. And I did the same here. And, well, okay, yes, so at the end, the results were not that consistent. So, easy of use, I would say it's very easy to use. And the summary, it's a very interesting approach, but not really, in my opinion, it's not really an agentic framework. Okay, they don't claim to be an agentic framework. I wanted to add this tool, this kind of approach to the agent frameworks because it is working with agents. It's using LangChain for implementing the logic. But anyway, that's how I see it. Yeah, thank you for watching. If you like it, feel free to leave me a like and maybe even subscribe if you want to see more videos about AI agents. So, have a nice day and see you in the next one. Ciao.